We back at it. It's the Flow Factory, the podcast, and I'm back with a legend. It's the show of the legends, and we got former Glade Central Raider, former West Virginia Mountaineer, former FAMU Rattler, former Charger, and current associate head coach and running back coach at the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Juan Seider. What's up, my guy?
What's up, man? That's a lot of schools. That's a lot of place travel. I don't know
We
about
left
that
a
list.
couple out. We left a couple coaching stops out with UF and also Penn State, man. The resume is crazy, man. It's GOAT status, baby.
Still working, man. Still working.
Still working, man. What's that First of all, congratulations on the move to Notre Dame, one of the most prestigious universities in all of college football. Very storied program. What's that transition been like for you?
Man, it's been smooth, man. You always think about things that in this profession because you do it, everything just gonna go easy. It's never the case, right? Especially when you leave one place, you've been there for 7 years, you come somewhere new. But man, just the staff here, the kids here, man, they've been welcome, and I mean, we got a bunch of smart kids that love ball. So it's kind of, I would say the transition been really smooth. Moving the other part of it,
Yeah,
that's been
yeah.
a little bit hectic, but that's part of this profession that we go through as coaches.
Yeah, I know it's probably been. I know you got kids graduating, college kids, high school kids, so it gets hectic family wise. What's this journey been like, just from that aspect, the family and everything?
Man, you know what? I've been very fortunate. The last stop, all three kids were to go to the same high school and graduate from the same place. Because in this profession, it's hard to stay in one
Yeah,
place that long. So that was a big part of staying at one place that long. To be able to not have to uproot your kids and change schools, especially when you got girls, man, right? Because it's hard at a certain age when you become a teenager because of the cliques and you didn't
yeah,
grow up in the area. So that was very important to us, to me, myself, and my wife, to have try to have a home base in a landscape where it's hard to have a home base. I grew up in Belgrade. I can't raise them in Belgrade, right? My wife grew up in West Virginia. We can't raise them there because of jobs. So, and that's the part that's hard because what is home for kids, man? And as a coach, right? Nobody ever think about that when you got to uproot them and move them all the time. So, try to give them some roots.
no, that's key, man. That people don't know, Belgrade's a very small, close knit country town, man. It's actually, bro, the era we grew up in, coming up out of there, bro, it was a great time, man. It's not the same now, and they're getting some things back together, even with the football program. But the era we grew up in, man, it was. I wouldn't trade it for nothing, my guy.
Man, who you telling? It was our childhood, right? It's where at that time, Belgrade, you wanted to be from Belgrade. You know what I mean? The way we
Yeah,
grew up, we had each other back. It was like you said, it was mom and pops everywhere, aunts and uncles everywhere. Even if you wasn't blood related, you was somehow related. So and in that place is missing a little bit, and it's missing a lot
yeah.
in my opinion. So, I think they're doing some good things right now. I'm really excited what Omar doing with the program and trying to get the community behind it. Man, I just, had a chance to spend some time out there with the kids, and I heard Love used a lot out there in practice at the end of practice when they was talking. And I think that's where it all started with, from a community. It can't be Glade Central. It's got to be Glade Central community, how we grew up. So, and
Yeah,
it takes a community. It takes a village. And
yeah.
Belle Glade need that.
What was it like growing up in Belgrade, playing at such a traditional program, one of the most storied programs in the nation, and playing with great players like Fred Taylor, Riedel Anthony? What was it like at that time?
Man, it was pride. It was, it was, if you're an athlete, is what you wanted your childhood to be. We were so like minded. It was a bunch of us. I mean, we're talking about Fred Taylor, Riedel Anthony, but there's a James Jackson, there's a Johnny Rutledge, there's a Robert Newkirk, there's a Willie Jones, there's a Roosevelt Blackman. Like, people don't understand how much talent we had at one time. It was all homegrown, which nobody don't talk about anymore because so many private schools, kids pop up and you becoming part of this school. There's nothing wrong with it because everybody want what's best for their kids, but we was able to get it all at one place. But again, it was a community where everybody cared for you. My mom and dad worked in the school, so like it was a pride. Like your last name meant something, right? And you didn't want to embarrass that. I think that's the thing that most of these kids missing. Like they don't. It's about them and not about the people that came before you. I know I didn't want to represent my mom and dad the wrong way, so I was taking pride in everything I did, how I walk, how I talk, and then we also was like that thing, iron sharpened irons. Like we was always pushing each other to do more. We wanted, that group of us wanted more than just to be in Belgrade, because it's only certain way you're going to be successful getting out of there. And we was able to use football as a tool to make it out, and we competed at everything. You can tell me that Fred was better than me. You can tell Rita was better than me. It was a mindset we had. Like, I'm gonna show you up, no matter it was football, basketball. I couldn't run as fast as those guys, but I tried. But it was that mindset, right? I'm gonna compete at everything we do, and it helps us became what's the right. So we had a mindset of a will that we was gonna get it done by any means necessary, and we was driven to make it out. Wayne Metzen had got out of there a couple of years ago. He kind of set that foundation for the next group in line. Like, hey, Wayne went to Florida State. Like, it's gonna be our turn. Like, we want out of Belgrade. So how are we gonna get there? We're gonna use football, and we're gonna flip this program around and get it back to winning. And I think we did a great job of that. And we kept ourselves away from trouble. We was able to say no to certain crowds. We was able to stay away from all the things that was going to hold us back. Like, nothing was going to stop us from making it out. That was our mindset. Like, we talk different, we walk different. Like, we was already talking about, when you're in a certain area, your dialect, your ebonics, you say certain things. Like, in Belgrade, A's become I's. Like, you don't say radio, you say radio. You don't say
Yeah,
bike, you
yeah.
say. So, like, we was at that time standing in front of mirrors practicing like we was talking to the media. Like, we was preparing for moments that when they was coming, but we was going to be ready for them. That was our mindset. Hey, let's be different in the right way. Let's change the narrative. Let's make people want to follow us instead of us following the wrong crowd.
Yeah, man, I got some great memories at that old Glacier Stadium, bro. As a kid watching them games, like I say it all the time on Twitter and on social media, you just had to be there, bro. It was packed house. The band was going crazy. Riedel jumping the fence out the touchdowns. It was a movie, bro.
But
What's
people,
your favorite mug? Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
what people forget, like, we was one of the first one to bring ESPN out
Yeah,
and
I
do.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize, that started around Belgrade, the Muck Bowl. Like, hey, ESPN started doing documentaries on us, and that's when these TV games started popping up.
I didn't even know that. That's a good
Yeah,
little
man.
fun fact.
Fun, fun fact, right? You remember the movie with Denzel?
Yo, which one? Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, around that same time, that's the same time when Glaze Central integrated, right? And the same time we won those state championship with two quarterbacks. Like, it was a lot of parallels. They market that movie
Mm.
off each other. And you remember the big guy in there that was in the
He's from
band that was
Belglade.
that played in there. So,
Yeah.
fun fact. I don't know how true that is, but it sounds good.
Yeah, nah, I like it. I like it. Give me your favorite Muck Bowl moment, man.
I would say I never lost for one, so that was one of my favorite. But my sophomore year, we was playing at Pahokee, and it was raining. They was winning, and they probably could have canceled the game and took the win, but everybody wanted to wait the weather out. We had a big light delay. I would say we was in the locker room about an hour or so, and they decided to play it. And we came back and won that game. I did a halfback toss to Steve Smith. I rolled outside the pocket. He threw it back to me in the rain. And what the boys call it now, head tap. I tapped it on their head so we won the game. So that was probably my favorite memory because I was young. And just starting to implement myself as a football player in the area.
I vaguely remember. It's a couple times I think you went down and Riedel had to come in at quarterback. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, that was my junior year. I had my appendix was about to rupture right
Okay.
before we got ready to play on the Thursday. We found out. I went to the hospital and we played Olympia Heights, and that was the first
Yeah.
time we lost. Never lost at
Yeah.
home. It was the first time we lost in a game, and like that hunted me because I feel like I let the team down. There's nothing I can do, And Riedel played his tail off. I think he had a kick return, a punt return, did everything he could in that game to help us win. And Olympia Heights was good that year.
Yeah.
The first time they beat us, they got in the playoff. I think they couldn't get past Deerfield, but they was a good team. And we still talk about that game, but you best believe I called them that next year and put 40 up on them.
Yeah, man. When we used to lose back then, man, the whole city felt it. That's how I remember like you going down and being out of game, like vaguely. I'm getting a little old here, but I remember that scenario, man. Give me a funny. Rita's a hilarious guy in real life, man. Give me a funny Rita story from high school.
I mean, you kind of talked about it, man. I remember we were playing Lake Wells, first play of the game. He looked at me, I look at him, Casco called a run play because Fred in the backfield. I shook it off. I said, hey, we going up top. They're gonna play you, man. Come on, man. Nobody do that to us. We throw a touchdown. We go 99 yards. The dude jumped the gate, sat in the stands, and ate popcorn.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's only what Riedel would do. I mean, you've seen the stories
Yeah.
that Florida jumping up trying to kiss the girl from Tennessee. Like this dude, that was Riedel. I mean, he liked to have fun and he was confident in himself. The one
Yeah.
thing coming up, he was probably myself and him was probably the two biggest athletes because I had to make sure everybody go in the right direction. But Riedel was the one who had the most confidence. Like he's gonna talk more trash, have us about to fight everybody. He's gonna be the first one not to fight.
Give me a Johnny Rutledge story, man.
Man, let me see. What's a good J. Rutt story? It ain't really much, man. Jay was
Jay
just
Jay
they gonna
smooth and chill,
show up.
man.
He gonna do his
Yeah.
job, and he's Jay Rutt. He's gonna be
Yeah.
the leader of the defense. That was Johnny. You can always count on Jay Rutt to be where Jay Rutt need to be at. So, and it was funny story. Like he really only started playing linebacker when he got in high school because we were in middle school. I was the quarterback, running back, and the linebacker. He was playing the D line. Fun,
Oh,
true
okay.
story. Yeah.
Okay. What was recruiting like for you? Who was your first offer? Like, what were your official visits?
Man, God, you got me
I
thinking,
took you
man.
too far back, man.
Boy, I'm a little old. I know I look young. I don't know, man. I can't remember who was my first offer. West Virginia stood out because they did the best job of recruiting me. Clemson was there. Tulane did a great job. I almost went to Tulane. Sean King actually committed the same weekend we was up there.
Mm,
Um, Notre Dame was there. And I think, because obviously James Jackson, who played with us, actually
right.
committed to Notre
Right.
Dame and then didn't pass the test score. He ended up going to Fort Union before he went to Miami. So um, I think when all said and done, the schools in Florida, Miami was on probation. When going to Florida, I didn't at that time, you couldn't like everybody in Florida. So Florida State was probably third at that time for me. But I was a Charlie Ward. Well, Charlie Ward was one of my favorite quarterbacks, so I did like them because of that. Wanted to go to Florida like everybody else, but Charlie Strong say, "Hey Jay, you can come here, but I'm just telling you, they're gonna move you to defense." At that time, they had a reputation for moving the athletic quarterbacks to defense, and so it hurt a little bit because that was the dream school coming up, but it made sense. You know what I mean? That was good. Florida was good for Fred and Riedel and Johnny. Some might be different for me. So, I went to West Virginia at that time. They had just not 88 and 93. Actually, 88 they played Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl for the national championship. In 93, I think they lost to Florida in the Sugar Bowl when they was undefeated because I think they were disappointed because they ain't playing another game. But I went up there, man. It was like 40 some guys from Florida. And I might be shortchanging it. I just felt home. And then at that time, in that era, when you was a black quarterback, there was only certain school playing that position. So, like, I really did my research on where the opportunities going to present themselves as a quarterback. And so, Doc Holliday did probably the best job of recruiting me as anybody I've ever been around. And it's a big role model for me now, like my second dad was the same guy who pushed me to get in college coach because I tried to run from this and I didn't think I
Mm.
wanted to do this, man. But he wouldn't let me settle, and I think that's what a good coach is, not letting you settle. And I think he did a great job for me on my upbringing.
West Virginia is like home to you now, pretty much. You met your wife out there, right? And I think is she from West Virginia?
She is,
Okay. And then your nephew is committed to West Virginia right now as a quarterback. Shout out to Jaron Hewley.
yeah, man, yeah. He's forging his own path, and that's what I told him. Don't do things because I did them. You got to do what's best for you. I
Right.
can't play. I would never want that much pressure on you anyway, man. And you go to that school because it's the right fit for you. They recruiting you like the way you want to be recruited, and I think they did a great job of that. A lot of people dropped the ball. I know it's a school in state. Thought they just had him, but they dropped the ball. You don't recruit the family. You can't. You're not gonna get the kid. Don't just think you're gonna get him through me. Um,
Mm.
I think the kid is. I think he's elite. I think they got a steal, and I think a lot of people, just like Lamar Jackson, they
You
gonna
took it
wake
out of
up.
my mouth, bro. Pause. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was gonna say when you stopped speaking. Is I remember Lamar Jackson was at Boynton, and I was speaking very highly of him at that time. And most people, he was a 3-star, not a whole lot of shine on him, but the upside, he was very raw. And him and Jaron had that in common. They're raw, but a live arm, the athleticism, the track speed. Like he got the makeup. He's still a pup too. And when he
That's
when
right.
he hits grown man size and he fill out, it's gonna be a problem for sure.
What happened is a lot of those guys, like I use Lamar, like because I recruit Lamar, like I was close to getting him at West Virginia. We rushed and took another kid, and that's a whole nother story for another episode. Um, these kids don't have the training like some of these other kids have, right? It's just what it is. He's like my nephew. I'm here. Don't get me wrong, but he got a single mom who's doing everything she can for the kid. Like she don't know. That's where you miss having that father figure. Granddad do a good job where they can go pay to get these type of training where most of these kids come from. And I still think it's a strength. I really do. As a college coach, I'm gonna say this not because of him. It gives you tools to work with, and you don't have a lot of bad traits because a lot of these guys go to these trainers and they doing all these off platform throws. Man, that stuff throw when people in your face. But when you got to drop back, throw off your back foot, transition your weight forward and where the ball got to go, it slows you down, right? And I think that position have the biggest bust rate because a lot of times we taking kids before they even play their junior year because what they look like in shorts. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
that's why you got to be careful at that position. Kids like them have a bigger hit rate because they got so much room to grow. You know what I mean? They don't have a lot of bad habits, and when they're a sponge and they listen, they in the film room. Um, they just they just keep doing this, man. And those are the type of kids you want to be around. And let's be honest, the game has changed, right? When you don't put these kids in the gun, and you don't have to have some of that training you used to have growing up when you got to be, hey, a 3-step rhythm, a 3-step
Right.
you hitch, a 5-step rhythm, 5-step with hitch. When you can get in the gun and catch the ball, you're already there. And now you're best player touching the ball. And you play man and don't get home and they gone on you. So it's a game changer.
We're gonna get back to the college and heading into coaching and in your pro career, all of that. Earlier you said you was trying to stay away from coaching. I find that shocking because you come from two legendary coaches, people that are very respected in that world out in the Glades. Why didn't you want to be a coach?
I didn't. I misspoken. Like I want to coach maybe in high school. You're trying to figure things out, right? Because
Right.
every player, when you go through it and you see the coaches, the hours they put in, the sacrifice they have to make, you're like, man, do I want to do it? And I was just talking to a young kid this morning about choices because he thinking about getting in it. I'm telling him the sacrifice you got to make. If you're a husband and wife, like you got to have a strong wife, right? The hours, the sacrifice of being away because she the mom, she also the dad, right? And she got to raise these kids, take them to the athletic sports events, pick them up, you know what I mean? And shoot, invest in the kids in the program. So like it's a lot, man, that nobody don't think about. It's the people behind the scenes that allow you to be a good coach and good recruiter. So, I doing it in high school, like, you come back home, you get comfortable at Glaze Central, over at Palm Beach Lakes, at Lake Worth. Um, but when you really think about it, when you're a good coach and you really invested, like you get up in the morning at 6, you get to work at 7, right? You got to school, you got to go teach, because you got to pay us, you got to get a
Right.
salary, right? You can't just live off a coaching salary, especially in Florida when they don't pay the coaches anything. So um, I was like, man, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right. So I go home, I get up, I go to work. I mean, at 7, teach all day, get ready for practice with game planning. You got to put the game plan together. Kids get done 6:30. You're gonna make sure they get out of there and make sure everything done right. You still getting out at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm like, shoot, if I'm doing this, I might as well go to college, And if I said no one time, I did. I went up there. My wife was pregnant with our second child, and then God bless the dead, Calvin McGee and Rich Rod tried to get me to be a GA. And I did it for the summer. I wasn't planning on it. If it was a fall, I'd have been good. But like my wife was literally, she was getting ready to have our baby that summer. And I was like, man, I can't do this. I can't take this job, put these hours in, especially as a grad assistant, while she's going to be having a baby. And so I turned back around and came back home to Glade Central. That was the first time. That's maybe the second time I went to Glade Central, but I was also still trying to play too. I was trying to. My body was still good. I just had my knee done, so like I'm in that phase where like I want to give it one more shot. Did a little arena stuff. But then when I did, I was like, man, I talked to wife a year later. I said, man, if I ever get an opportunity to do it again, I'm gonna do it. Full circle come around. I was about to take a job in Georgia. My old high school coach Casco was up in Georgia,
Shout out to Casco, man.
in Cartersville. I was about to take a job, and he called me and say, "Hey, before you come up, I want you to go to Carrollton High School. Talk to them. They're a wing team. They want to run spread. They're looking for another coordinator. They'll take care of you. Salary wise, it'll be good. Teaching supplement will be good." I was in the middle about to go to that job, and then Doc was, possibly supposed to be the head coach at West Virginia. They win the Fiesta Bowl.
Hmm.
When Rich go to Michigan, Bill Stewart get the job. So, one of those things I already told Doc I'm coming, and we already had it lined up. So he ended up being assistant head coach, coaching waiting. He thought he was going to be the head coach. So I still go with him, right? And it worked out. Got a chance to coach the quarterbacks, got a chance to coach Pat White his senior year, and I had Jared Brown up there who I coached in high school. So, it ended up working out the way it's supposed to. A year and a half later, we're down at Marshall for 3 years. Then we go back to West Virginia for 4 years. Then, like you said, go to Florida for a year with Mac. That one's still tough, right? Because you hate going somewhere and don't feel like you fulfilled your prophecy. You're not your prophecy, your duty.
Right.
Because I thought I was coming in a good place. They went to SEC twice, and then you go there year one. Finally saying yes to it, and then it's a one and done. Like that didn't sit well because we feel like, all right, we can make a difference here. You got me back where my roots at. This home. Um, had a chance to stay with Mullins. It just something wasn't right. It didn't feel right. Like it was
Yeah.
hard to leave, but it was the right thing to leave. And I think I grew a lot leaving. I was going to take the Bengals job at that time, not the Bengals, the Browns. I go to Penn State, and I'm going to Penn State. Was there 7 years, and now I'm here at Notre Dame.
Yeah, man. It's just great resume. What made you because you say you did some quarterback coaching you did with Pat White and Jared Brown. How did you ultimately end up one of the best running back coaches in the country right now? But how did you end up at running back?
Man, it's the part of this profession that's always been tough. You know what I mean? Especially being a black guy, let's call it like it is. You hate to say that, but at that time it was. I don't want to say that had anything to do, but it was hard to break into those positions, right? I thought I was in. You go to Marshall, and with Doc, like I thought I was going down there to do that, but they hired a guy named Tony Peterson. Tony played at Marshall. Tony coached Chad Pennington, so I get that. You know what I mean? And I said, all right, I'll coach running backs, which is good. Like I needed to do that anyway because it taught me protection. It taught me run game. So I really grew a lot coaching this position. And then I thought, okay, Tony leave, they would promote me, over to that position. And then I was with my guy Bill Legg, who, he was going to be one of us. Bill wanted to do it too, being a coordinator, which I understood it. So Bill and them doing it. I ended up leaving later that year, ended up going to West Virginia, which pretty much coached everything from running back to slot to tight end. I had a quarterback in the room. So it was almost to the point like I was doing everything but coaching that position full time. So now you're entrenched in the position. So now in my mind, I don't even think about that way. Yeah, it'd be great to do it, but now the game changed so much. Now I consider myself a true running back coach, and what I do when I became a running back coach, I didn't want to be just a running back coach. I wanted to be the best at it, right? And what is the best? I just want to be the best at every game that we show up in, right? That it ain't the running backs the reason why we ain't do this or why we doing that. Like I want to be the best at it. I want to recruit the best and I want to coach the best. And I want every time you turn on the TV, you felt the running back room. Whether it's running, blocking, passing, yeah, special teams. Like, you know what I mean? So now you own it. And when you own it, now you invest into it, right? Every year I'm finding ways to get better, right? And now I can be a quarterback guy coaching running back because now I can teach a position room that never saw the game this way. They just been taught how to run the ball. Now they can understand coverage, they can understand fronts, they can understand back alignments. Like now you can see it all. And so now we can better move these guys in slot position outside that receiver, in the backfield. We can see blitz sometimes before the quarterback see it. Now we can help them. So again, I'm teaching them from the neck up. So when they leave here, right? Because all we are teachers, right? Getting them ready to take that test and we want them to pass that test. And sometimes the test is here, but also the test when they get to the NFL that they're ready to play.
What makes a good or great recruiter in your mind?
I think being authentic, man. I think being honest, being transparent, work ethic, like being relentless, like find decision makers. It ain't just a kid. It's the mom, it's the grandparent, it's somebody at that school. Now you got everybody involved because money involved, right? So you got to find out who that is, and you got to find out who really into it for the kids. It's a lot easier recruiting two-parent homes because most two-parent home they're gonna be more centered on what's best for their kids. A lot of these recruiters try to prey on the single parents, right? Because they may not have much, so I can throw a couple cheese in front of them, and it's hard to say no, and I get it. You know what I mean? And you got to know that going into it. But now, I mean, it's about relationships, man. I'm telling you, like I recruit every kid like I want to be recruited. I want my kids to be recruited. And I think that's important. I still think you can recruit that way because the money is the money, right? Everybody got money now. What
Right.
separates you from what's going to separate us from Georgia? What's going to separate us from Alabama? What's going to separate us from Ohio State? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to work at it. You have to build true relationships. And then your resume, like now you got a resume. Like I can stack it up with anybody, so they know you can be developed, right? There are no details going to come with it. And their ultimate goal is to go to NFL. Can you help develop those guys to take their game to the next level?
Do you have any red flags from a kid, NIL wise, money wise, in the recruiting process? Would it kind of like make you go further down your board, or just move on from a kid?
Yeah, to me right now, if it's all about money, I don't want to deal with a kid. First of all, I don't handle the money. We have people that talk about that. I still want to know, do you want to be developed? Do you want to be a good teammate? Isn't still getting a degree is important to you because it's going to end for all of us, right? Like this it's good money. It's great money for a lot of people. But again, everybody got it. So at some point you're going to get money, but is football important to you? And if football important to you and being a good teammate, you know what I mean? And the whole process that go with it, if that ain't important to you, I don't want to coach you because you're going to be a distraction. Because as soon as it ain't good here, you're going to be trying to go in the portal. Or you make a little money here, you're going to be reaching out to have agents reaching out to other schools, which you ain't even a portal, but they doing it anyway because they're trying to what? Make more money for you. And so you're going to always be looking to jump. So to me, if I can't get the relationship and I don't feel like it's going to go the right way and it's all about the wrong things, man, this ain't the place for you. I'm not the coach for you. I'm looking for somebody who, A, looking for a relationship and love ball. There's some school where it's just ball. Go to that school. They do a great job.
Right.
Here, you're going to get it all. And you're going to be set for life. I mean, that's the thing about it. It's the 40-year plan. People
Mm.
say, what's the 40-year plan? When 40 years over, once you're done playing, you shouldn't have to work another day in your life. That's the simple way of putting it. And that making that degree work for you.
Nah, it's that's real game. We get caught up in the glitz and the glamour of right now money, but like a program like Notre Dame is a long term life legacy move. Great alumni base. Just anything you're trying to do, it's a lot of resources and things to be able to fall back on, and that's bigger than just a NIL check right now. You got one of the best running backs in the country, Jeremiyah Love. Like, how do you improve his game? What's your approach to him this season? What do you want him to improve on?
Well, every kid got room to grow. And we got a good room here. And, like I said, iron always sharpen irons. He got guys in that room that push him every day. Jadarian, Anilius, Gibran, Keedron, Nolan James. So every day you got to go to work. And what you did last year don't matter. It's what you do this year. And right, your expectation, your standard for what you want, it's got to change. You can get away doing the same thing you did last year. Guess what? Defense gets smarter. They know how to play and defend you. So our deal was knowledge, right? We talk about knowledge, understanding, okay, what's the front? Who we can block up front. Time the runs and pass with what the O line doing so you understand they calls, right? So when the ID changes, it changes your read keys and some of your aiming point. And also now knowing who to unblock, who the guy got to win when they block it up perfect for me. Because we don't do it by ourselves. When the guys block, who I got to win on? It's the boundary free safety. It's the trap corner. Whoever that may be, we got to answer for it. AKA, they blitzing. We got to know the read key changing, right? I may not be reading the first D lineman. Now I may be reading the DN if they got edge pressure. So I understand, okay, my angle departure change, my read key, my aiming point. Like now I can get vertical faster. So again, making them understand and be students of football. Teach them how to watch film, because you'd be amazed. A lot of these kids don't know how to watch film. But and also in the pass game, cleaning them up, right? Here I go as a quarterback, right? Understanding what a quarterback looking for, why being 2 yards away from the quarterback and gun instead of 1 yard. Like the little things a bad snap may do, but you might
Right.
run into each other. It's like the nuance that nobody made to talk through to these kids. And they understand, okay, like if we in 6-man pro, I don't need to release out so fast because I'm not the first read. You could be the third read, but they need you there versus man, and you running like you free releasing, and now you covering yourself. Just little things, subtle things that you understand ball and how you fit in the puzzle kind of helps you grow as a player.
Man, you got me hyped, bro. Pigskin, the smell of it's in the air, bro. We we on the horizon of camp, bro. Marcus Freeman, what you leaving Penn State? A great coach over there. I'm a big James Franklin fan, and when I seen the news hit ESPN, my phone go off, and I see J1 Seider to Notre Dame. I'm just like, bro, it's hard to upgrade for Penn State, but my God, just upgraded like crazy. What went into that decision to leave Penn State and to go coach for Marcus Smart? Marcus Freeman? What did he sell you on?
Well, what people don't know, me and Free been friends for over 14, 15 years. When we was
Okay,
young coaches, Free had just went to Purdue. I was at Marshall getting ready to just go to West Virginia. I think I was still at Marshall. We was in Belgrade.
okay,
Spring recruiting, and that was the first time we met each other. Um, I had another mutual friend, Jared Parker, that worked with me at Marshall, that just went to Purdue with him, who's now the head coach at Troy. So we was the three amigos at that time, hanging out in Belgrade. Gave him some good food, took him to mom house, and spring game, and Free played with San Antonio and Apple Duke, so there was
okay.
a knowledge of Belgrade, and when you just know good people, man, and good people becomes friends. And we stayed in touch with each other. And we always said if one of us got a certain job where we can win at, we're gonna work for each other. Because it's hard to say who's gonna be a head coach, but and these opportunities are, they hard to get, right? And for when you get them, you want to surround yourself with good people. So when he first got a job, I was at the other place at one time. I had just signed two kids that was really talented. I was gonna give them 3 years, which I did. We talked at the Orange Bowl just like friends do. It was tough walking off that field, but I was happy. If I'm gonna lose to anybody, lose to a friend that had an opportunity to win. We hugged and talked a little bit after the game. After he got through with the media, we texted a little bit that night. And he said, "Look, I don't know when, but I'm coming to get you." And I said, "Listen, man, the next time you won't have to ask, man. I promise you that I'm coming." And long story short, man, I was actually about to go to NFL. I had a couple jobs lined up. I was gone. I mean, it wasn't even college like I was gone. It was just time. I just felt like it was time for a change. You know what I mean? Nothing
Yeah,
against the last place, man. It was a heck of a run. You just get to the point like I just need a new channel. I need to feel something different. Um, yeah. And he called that morning. Usually he texts me, but like he's calling something up. I said, Brandy, I told my wife, I said, look, Free calling. I'm on the phone. Matter of fact, I'm talking to one of the NFL teams in New York. I was like, hey, ooh, like this is about like, I'm about to
yeah.
tell these people something. He called, he said, hey bro. He said just like this, hey bro, remember we had that conversation and you said, hey, when it's coming, I ain't gotta ask. I said, you know what, you right. I'm gonna make you sweat for a couple of days. And he didn't realize I went to after we hung up, I didn't talk to anybody for the next 2 days, not even Penn State. I just need to get away because man, that was a long
Yeah,
season. Right? I just
yeah,
need. That was the first time we had a break, man. It was long, bro. And I knew once we talked where I was going. I looked at my wife. She looked at me. Said, "We're going to the Midwest." Huh? I said, "Yep, yep." I said, "We're going to Notre Dame." I said, "It's time." The kids graduated. The hardest part was not leaving Penn State the job, man. It was leaving the kids, man, because half of that team, hell, I done recruited. Our
yeah,
best players, hell, I recruited most of them. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like everybody just talking about running backs. It's yeah, it's my room. Like I raised those kids, but it's everybody else, on that team that you had a relationship with, and some of the staff members. So here it just made sense. It was time. Like could everybody say, why leave Penn State right now? You got all those guys coming back. Well, when is the right time? You always say leave a place better than you found it. Well, I think I did that.
yeah, yeah.
I think I did that, and so And now here we got a new challenge, man, to make sure this room stay at the top. They've been really good over here. You know me, I'm prideful, I'm a Belgrade, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna try to be the best at everything we do. I'm gonna try to continue to make this room a great one, and hopefully we take that next step and be elite, this year, which I think we got a chance, but it's a team game, right? It's team glory here. It ain't about individual. It ain't about how well Jay Love. It's all about Notre Dame, the team. And that's how our approach is here.
And what's the theme of camp, man? How you got a big game one? I got to talk to you about. Y'all playing my ops. We got similar ops this year. But what's the theme of camp?
Man, get better, man. It's about 1% better every day. It's about focus on us. What's in front of us is an opportunity to get better every day. And as an individual player, as a team, because at the end of the day, it ain't about our opponent. It's about what we do. And when we take care of ourselves, it's going to give us the best opportunity to win whoever we play. Was it game one, game three, game 12, whatever that may be? You know what I mean? And so that's been our approach, man. Hey, it's about team glory, man. It's shared suffering right now, right? When you in camp, it's just the dog days,
Yeah.
that you don't understand. It's the shared suffering. This is how you build your team, right? Basically going through hell. You trying to find your way back to heaven. And that's where we at.
Coming down here Labor Day weekend. I know the family's gonna be deep at that game versus Miami. How excited are you about that matchup?
Man, to me, it's just like I said, it's a nameless opponent. That's how you treat it when you're at this profession. Because what you can't do is treat game one and then you don't treat the game two and the game three the next way. You know what I mean? Because that's how you
Yeah.
lose. That's how you be on that roller coaster. We want to stay even keel, man. Just keep climbing. For me, the most exciting part about it, just being able to come home. As a kid growing up, that being the Orange Bowl, having an opportunity to play down that last year in that game, man, it was awesome. And we 50 minutes away, hour
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
from the Orange Bowl. So, a lot of family members, I told me better buy their own ticket because if they ain't came up and seen me, don't call me for no tickets because none of them cheap. But
I
it's
hit you up for
still
the Orange Bowl tickets. I was like, hey bro, you got an extra one laying around, man. Shoot it to me, bro.
yeah.
I had to shoot my shot.
But
But
it's just, man, it's the opportunity, man. Being a South Florida guy to be
yeah.
really, you're saying come home because that's the biggest stadium down there. So I'm excited, man. It's an opportunity, but that game so far away. It is about Notre Dame, Notre Dame, Notre Dame, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get back to your college plan there. I want to wrap it. I don't want to hold you too long, my guy. The transfer from West Virginia to FAMU. What went into that decision?
Man, it was tough, right? Because you go somewhere for that long. I mean, I was at West Virginia for 4 years. The brotherhood, again, my wife, you had just dating for about a year. Had a lot of stuff going on, man. It was hard to leave, man, because it wasn't just about playing. Like I was entrenched so much with the staff. Like it was, I was already had opportunity to be a coach there as a GA. So everybody everybody process is different. And I truly mean this, man. Every kid road a journey to success. It's gonna be different. I live my life now. I heard a guy speak, good friend of mine, Chef. He's like, man, listen, your journey has to be greater than your destination.
Mm,
And you think about it, man, you rushing your destination, you could be rushing the end. So you got to enjoy everything you do in between. Right. And so, long story short, my sophomore year is me and Mark Bolger competing at West Virginia. I thought I wanted a job in the spring. Coach said he went with him a little bit because he played a little bit more as a freshman. Mark Daddy was a backup here at Notre Dame. He backed up Joe Theismann. So his daddy was awesome, man. He spent so much time with me because he knew I was the same role I was in.
right.
Long story short, we was playing Boston College. We didn't play well. We won that game. Coach Nealon came to me. We was getting ready to play Miami the next week. He's like, if you struggle at all, we going to you. It's going to be your job. We went down there in Orange Bowl and beat Miami.
Mm,
Man, at that time, not too many teams beat Miami, right? You had to
right.
be one of those programs, right? And we win, and and you got to be a realist. You got to be realist with yourself, real with yourself. He wanted that job, and Mark played well, and sure, Mark had a long NFL career, and sometimes you can be at the right place just at the wrong time.
Right.
We had two quarterbacks, and we both got drafted in the same round.
Mm,
So, and I ended up going to FAMU, started the fourth game because they had Quinn Gray who was playing well, who was in the system. Following, Pat Bonner was there the year before. So, I had to go work. It wasn't easy because everybody think transfer. I don't care if you transfer in one AA, division two. Like
yeah.
you better make sure you go in the right place at the right time. And so I went down there, got it game 4, never looked back. You know, took him as far as I can take him. I thought we was going to get a national championship. You know, we played Youngstown with Jim Tressel last year before he went to Ohio State. You know, we was winning. Coach took me out the game, thought my shoulder was hurting because he felt like we had the game won. We ended up losing that game.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever forgave Billy Joe after that game. Probably kind of pushed him out after that, you know, because we had a team to win it. I think everybody was making those plane tickets to Chattanooga because they assumed we was going. You know, and that was the one regret, not being able to finish that game. If you ever say what's a regret, I don't want to say it ain't about coach, just that I couldn't finish it to get that program to that next game. You know what I mean? To have an opportunity because I felt like we matched up well. So, but the greatest joy was going on there playing for Billy Joe, one of the greatest coaches I've ever been a part of. Like everything I see in college football right now, he was doing it. Option routes, gun, you know, I think I brought an element, made a run from spread offense that opened it up even more. So it was an awesome opportunity. You know, it really was.
What do you think HBCU is missing right now? I know Prime went there for a little bit, and it's good. I see the Michael Vicks going back, and Eddie George was coaching HBCU, so I see that. I like that trend. What do you think else can go into HBCU to make it elevate a little bit?
Don't compare yourself to the bigger schools, first of all. Stay in your realm, right? There might be some smaller 1A schools you can beat, but like you don't have the depth, you don't have the resources. It's impossible. Like it's starting the weight room. Like right there, you at a disadvantage. The meals you can give kids on this level versus what they're gonna be able to give. Like it's just it's the haves and have nots. And that's where it started at. And so you can't compare apples to oranges when you're trying to compare what they do at 1A and what they're gonna do in 1AA at an HBCU. And that's just being honest. And that's not a shot. It's just like that's the world we live in, right? Um, and I think what Prime did, he brought exposure to that level of playing field. And it's still going. I think there's some really good coaches out there. Willie did a great job at FAMU. I mean, it just, you know, just you're gonna reach your ceiling, and you got to be okay have an opportunity to win the 1AA playoff and start winning that. Right? Let's go win the 1AA playoff, and now
Yeah.
you give yourself more fighting chance to maybe climb or whatever it may be. Like that's to me, that's my opinion. Just trying to compare the two and giving you an honest answer. Um, and that's the truth.
What was it like getting drafted? You know, you get drafted to the Chargers. That's the dream. That's the ultimate thing right there, man. Whatever school you go to, however it shakes out, you know, so be it. But the ultimate dream is to make it to the NFL, and you was able to do that. What was that feeling like?
When you think about my path, right? We just talked about going to from West Virginia for 4 years, you know, sitting behind Mark to going to Florida and and playing 1 year, which really was unheard of to be drafted and being a black quarterback drafted at that time off 1 year. So shout out to Bobby Beth, the late Bobby Beathard. You know, he had a knack for doing that. He did it with Doug Williams. You know what I mean? He was able to see true talent. The one thing I always remember is sitting on the pull-out couch, me and my wife, girlfriend at the time, were sitting there watching ESPN like everybody else doing, hoping, you know, and praying that you get opportunity to go. You know, it's funny because I actually thought I was going to go to the Patriots for some reason. I had a couple calls from them, and they took Tom Brady
Right,
a couple
right.
right before me, so we was on that 6th round, and then but San Diego called. They said, "Hey, we was going to take you anywhere from between the 5th, you know, and the 6th round." There's a couple picks in that 5th and 6th round. Like, man, are they going to take me? Then I think my name came across the ticker before they called, and like that's what I remember the most. You know what I mean? They can never take that away, seeing your name come across the ticker and you're in that 6th round. I mean, it was just, you know, that's what we all dream of when we play this game, have an opportunity to play in NFL. You know, it was short lived. You know, a lot of time it's being at the right place, the right time. You know, we was out there, me, Ryan Leaf, Jim Harbaugh. We had a hell of a whole staff. You know, and just, you know, you need time to develop. And I thought for the first time for me, my first time truly being coached like a quarterback that I needed to was that time with the Chargers. I learned so much. It defined my coaching, that position.
Mm, that's what's up, man. How much rest in peace to Jiren, man. Me and Jiren played Little League baseball together. Just a bright personality, fun person to be around, just always bringing joy to the room, man. He was just I got a million stories I can say about him. He's a funny kid, man. But rest in peace. He died the same year that you got drafted. What was that? What was it like dealing with that, being a rookie in the NFL?
It was hard, man. It was hard because you go from the highs to the lowest. And that's the simplest way I can put it, man, because now your focus goes from having fun, making a team, being competitive to you get a phone call in training camp and your whole world is shattered. And it's my right hand man, my little bro who looked up to me, and everybody knew Jaron back home. He worked harder than everybody, had better work ethic than me. He only had 2 jobs and still play football. On the other hand, we're just gonna play ball. But
Right.
it was hard, man. In a town that you grew up with, everybody know each other. For that incident to happen, man, it set me back. I mean, the only escape I had was going to football practice. That was the only time I can tune it out. But soon as practice over, the emotions just hit you, man. And that was hard. That was hard for the family. I really found how strong a mom is, right? We see a strong mom when she have a baby. But when you got to bury your son before you, to see my mom go through that, man, like, that was hard. That was really hard. And we, it sometimes like it's you can talk about it, but sometimes those emotions still come back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. That was my freshman year in college, right? So I'm up in New York, JUCO ball, and I'm up there with a bunch of guys from Belgrade. So we all finding out at the same time. I'm up there with Bro, on Denius Jones. I'm up there with Saunders brothers. We call him White Boy, but I'm up there with them boys, Utah and Cooper, Peanut. It's a bunch of us up there, and we all finding out at the same time. And it was a gloomy moment, bro. We were way up in New York, bro, because that's what he meant to, that era, like being around. He was a very bright light, a fun person to be around. And it was just like, you got a little reality check right there, man. We fresh out of high school, and it hit me like a brick. Like, bro, we could be out of here. Like life is fragile. But what do you see? What's success for you, man? How you want your legacy to end?
Man, that I care about people. It's not about me.
Right.
And I was here to help. You know what I mean? Like, everything I do is about playing it forward, right? Being a servant leader. And I want to be known as a great father, right? Foremost, a great husband, a great son, a great nephew, great cousin, and a friend. Like, in this profession, you have friends, but you lose the relationship because you're not around. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like, that's hard, man. You talking about that born on date and that asterisk when in between and when you leave.
Right.
Hey, man, he did it the right way. It was never about him. Like, I don't coach for the spotlight. I had my days. It's about the players that I'm truly here to help. Like, I got in this profession ready to go help another kid in Belgrade.
Mm.
That football was going to be the way they out. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
take pride in that. That was a big reason why I got into it, because I saw so many people doing it wrong, bringing kids here and have no relationship. It was just ball, right? And I said I was going to be different. You can have real relationship. The best love is tough love, right? And people, kids, players want to be told the truth. Like, how can I grow if I don't hear you tell me the truth? Why am I second string? Tell me why. Hey, you sure you want to know? I'm gonna tell you why, right? And you gotta be willing to take that, and you gotta be willing to get that kid in, because he's gonna respect you more, right? And I think that's what I want to be known for. A guy who shot it straight, never had an ego, all about trying to play it forward, showing other people that you can do this. It ain't about me, right? It's about playing it forward, man, paying it forward, man, giving back, being servant. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and living right, man, putting God first.
Straight up. You got head coaching on that goal list?
Man, you know what? We all want that opportunity. Been close a few times, but man, if it's for me, it's for me. I had a hell of a run. Man, if this the best it get, been at coaching at Notre Dame, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
times we get caught wondering and worrying about things that we can't control. Like, every university got the right to hire who they want to hire. But if I get that opportunity, you bet your ass I'm gonna be ready for it. And
Already.
because it's a challenge, right? And nothing better for me than a challenge, man. That's where we was raised, from where we from. You know it, where we take on challenges, and we don't just knock on the door, we kick them in. And that's going to be my mentality because it's about people, right? You surround yourself with the right people, and kids are drawn to people they can believe in and trust. And I think I had a good track record with that, through recruiting. So that it follows you, right? Who you are follows you, right? If you're a
Right.
bad person, you're a jerk, but people gonna see that. If you're a good person, you kind, they know you care. Well, guess what? They're gonna be attracted to that, and that's the real thing we talk about recruiting. That's all it is. It's about people.
Yes, sir. My last question, and we out of here. Top 5 Glade Central quarterbacks. Give me your top 5, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I got Brad Banks coming on here soon too, man. So
Because I hate ranking people, right? Because
no particular order then.
what you base it off, is stats. Because a lot of us don't see the old heads. Nobody saw Wayne Stanley play, who
I
won
don't
an
know.
national.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
You know my point? Like in the 70s. So like him and what I mean, those things, that's why it's always hard, and I'm the best. Brad Banks played behind me. He got to watch me every day. So I'm gonna put it out. Brad had a hell of a career in Iowa, but people don't forget like the process. Like Brad process was not easy. Brad went to Central Florida, didn't play there, went to JUCO, then went to Iowa. You know what I mean? So he found the right fit. Then the next thing you know, he's a Heisman runner up. Like people forget, like everybody's journey gonna be different. Everybody's not gonna be the same. Some gonna play right away, some won't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Omar had stats wise. Omar may be you go by stats the best ever because they threw the heck out the ball. We didn't throw the ball. I had Fred Taylor and James Jackson, 13 passes in the game, gonna give me 150. Right? We didn't play in the spread offense, so that's why it's hard to say who's the best. Like it's the kids who won 3 state championship. Do they make him the best player, talent? No, they make he was on the best team, right? They won.
Right.
So that's why I hate ranking stuff. And how could you rank anybody Glacier with all the talent come out of that place?
Yeah. There's a lot of people
Right?
that
Who's the
didn't
best
make
running back?
it.
Yeah, who's the best running back? Who's the best wide
Fred
receiver?
T, we ain't even argue that. Fred T is definitely the best running.
All right, so you went around when there was a Greg Bain.
No, I don't. Yeah, I hear about him.
Who was before Fred, who went to Florida, but he was in Love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's those type of stories that nobody talk about. Like the best athlete to me ever come out of Belgrade is Jimmy Spencer.
Right.
To me, that's who I grew up idolizing. I wanted to carry his pads off the field. Jimmy was the first one from Belgrade, nobody talk about, who was coaching for the Broncos and playing at the same time.
Word? I didn't know that.
Yes, that's legendary.
That's crazy.
That's some history for you right here.
That's crazy. I got to connect with some of the older ones like Jimmy Spencer. I've been texting with Louis Oliver. We haven't said anything. I want to tap in with him as well. But it's a lot that didn't. Like you talking about Gilbert Grantley. That was one of the first ones I started seeing as a kid. Like you talking about just crazy speed.
Who should have never played football. She just ran track. Olympic medals, right?
Right.
I tell you what's neat. My dad and them and a bunch of other guys work hard on that Hall of Fame, whatever they call it in Belgrade. I don't know if you've been over to it. I heard it's really neat. They got a bunch of us there. Yeah, it's at the old library. They put turf in there. They put it's really done well. It might be one you want to go see. It might be a good place to do one of these at.
100%. I did not know that.
Check it out. I heard it's big time. It's big time.
Definitely. I'm checking into that, man. I appreciate you for pulling up. It's Flow Factory. J1 Seider, the GOAT running back coach from Belgrade, Glade Central, man. I appreciate you, my dude.
Anytime, bro. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Proud of you, man.
Thanks a lot, bro. I appreciate it a lot, man.
All right.